Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the AF Playbook podcast. Something I've been interested in ever since I was a little kid was inventing things. I would try to build little things that solved various problems either around the house or with my own toys or anything that I could think of. I've never actually invented anything as in gone into production before, but it's something that I've been increasingly interested in the last few years and have been doing a lot of research about it. So I'm really excited about the interview I did today with the inventor of StayblCam. Now, Eskil is the person who invented it, but he was an affiliate for a lot of years before he did this. So I thought that was really cool to talk to him about how he went from affiliate marketing to actually inventing and getting something out there. He did a successful Kickstarter where I think they got funded 4 or 5 times over what they were asking for. And it was really cool to talk to him about what skills he learned through affiliate marketing that helped him to actually market this. You know, if you go to the website and you didn't know much about marketing at all, you would think that there was a huge team behind this, you know, between the videos and the press coverage and actually building the product. But he did it pretty much just himself, which I thought was really impressive. And it really shows that the skills you learn through learning affiliate marketing can take you in a lot of different directions and serve you no matter what field you want to get into in the future. So anyway, here is the interview, and I hope you guys like it. Make sure to check out the StayblCam because it's really cool. Okay, Eskil, welcome to the AF Playbook podcast.
Thanks. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, sure. Thanks for doing this. Like I said, I'm really excited about this one because this is something that I'm really interested in these days. So, just to start off, could you tell us what your background is and how you got into affiliate marketing? Because I know you were an affiliate for quite a while, right?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, yeah. Actually, my first first discovery of the internet was when I started college back in 1992. We had internet before there was any web or anything. It was just like FTP and server stuff. But for many years, I didn't really go online and do much. I just had emails and stuff like that and surfed. But it wasn't until like 2004 when I actually decided to jump into something, and I started my own web hosting company and got some servers, got set up because could use some of the stuff I learned in college about server management and all that. So started a hosting company 2004, and a couple of years into it, of course, I had to I had to learn how to drive traffic to it, to get customers. And so I started learning AdWords, pay-per-click traffic and all that. And as that, and I started seeing, I got some exposure to various service providers. As a web host, you have to, deal with all these services that you can offer to your customers. And also, customers come to you and say, hey, you guys have this in the service, blah, blah, blah. So I started looking into stuff, and I saw more and more, affiliate programs being mentioned or referral programs. And, if you refer as a customer, we'll pay you, X commission and stuff like that. And so I started getting really interested in that and saying, how does this work? You can actually make money on just referring people to different products or services. And actually, at the same time, I picked up a magazine from a newsstand. It was about domaining, people buying domains and setting up, basically, like the guy who bought like candy.com, who made tons of money just because he owned the domain candy.com.
Yeah.
People just type in, candy in their browser bar, and they will just go to that domain, and it'll be just like a parked site with a bunch of links on it. And he would just get paid, a few cents here and there. And I thought that was really fascinating. And at the same time, I was also getting involved this is in 2006. I got on a forum, it was new at the time, called Wikidfire, which of course is still around. And of course, in Wikidfire, there was a lot of talk about affiliate marketing and pay-per-click and SEO and AdSense and all this stuff like that. I was really, really interested in that, and that's how I kind of got into it, and took it from there and started testing some offers myself and getting to know other affiliates and affiliate network owners, and kind of grew from there.
Wow, that's cool. Did you, going back before that, did you ever have any idea that's what you wanted to do? Did you always want to own your own business, or were you planning on going
Yeah.
into some totally different field?
Yeah, no, before my whole web hosting company, I was just kind of, a regular day job and stuff. And I always kind of knew that it didn't feel right for me. I didn't feel like comfortable like having a job and going, 9 to 5 and
Mhm.
reporting to a boss and all this stuff. It just didn't feel right. I know most people don't even, most people don't like having a job, of course, but it was a little different because I felt like, I really don't want to do this for the rest of my life. I just want to have more control. I want to have something that's my own and be my own boss, basically. So, I saw the web hosting business as a way to get out of that and to own my own business. But at the same time, the affiliate marketing thing was really, really, really appealing because, at the time it seemed like it was, not that much work for, quite a bit of money potentially. If you did it right, you can make, good money with it if you do things right and if you set up, the right campaigns. And I figured, well, this has got to be, a good way to go if you can manage it and do it right. So yeah, it just felt like a natural step for me at the time to go into that and try that.
Yeah, very cool. Now you mentioned AdWords. What did you specialize in any type of affiliate marketing? Did you use other traffic sources? Were you just kind of promoting a little bit of everything, or did you specialize in certain niches?
Not so much specializing. I just kind of tried a little bit of everything, as as I think most affiliates do. They just, they get onto some networks, to sign up for a CPA network typically, and they talk to their manager and they say, well, oh, here's this offer. How about this and how about that? And here's this dating offer and here's this ringtone offer and whatnot. And you kind of just go with the flow. At least that's what I did. I kind of tested a bunch of different stuff. And as far as traffic, yeah, AdWords was my main thing at the beginning because I already knew AdWords from running it to my own hosting company.
Yeah.
And so that was my main thing. And excuse me. But of course, I also started testing other traffic sources because as Google, they started tightening their rules. And they, at the time, back in 2006 or so, they were pretty lenient with affiliate marketers.
Mm-hmm.
You can get away with a lot of stuff back then, which you cannot do now at all. I mean, they really cracked down on affiliates, and even though you can still run offers on there, it's totally different ballgame now than it was back then. So, but even then, you had to start looking at other sources because not just AdWords. What I did mainly back then was search traffic, not so much display traffic for a while. And some of the offers I was going after were, they were more display traffic oriented. So I had to kind of learn other traffic sources as well, and eventually got into Facebook ads, of course, when that when that came around.
Yeah.
Facebook ads and pay-per-view and Bing ads and these self-serve media buy platforms like Post 360. And all these other platforms that I'm sure a lot of people are familiar with who listen to this podcast. But yeah, to answer your question, I basically tried a bunch of stuff and learned a lot of stuff on the way doing those things,
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
That's cool. So, and then I wanted to talk about what led you from affiliate marketing to kind of what you're doing now, but I know there's some stuff in between, and you were talking about getting into the world of dietary supplements.
Yeah. So I was an affiliate for quite a few years there. It wasn't until maybe 2010 when I started getting a little fed up with the affiliate marketing stuff because and I'm sure people can relate to this. It gets frustrating sometimes. It gets really you really have to stay up on it, and sometimes from day to day you don't know if your campaign is up and going. You can wake up one morning and you could be making hundreds or even thousands of dollars a day, and all of a sudden you wake up and boom, there's nothing. Your offer went down, or the traffic source, they canceled your account or something. It was just so out of control. There's almost no control. I shouldn't say no control, but almost no control because you rely on other parties such as the affiliate network or the offer owner or the traffic source and stuff like that. All these things are you kind of depend on them, and so I got a little sick of that, being just so dependent on that, and I felt it was pretty unstable for me. I can see how it's different for guys who are single and don't have a family, but for me, I have a wife and kids to feed, and stuff, and it's a little different when you can't take that big of risks when you have a family and kids, to put food on the table. And if I was single, maybe I would have, done it longer. I could take bigger risks. Who cares if I spend all the money on the traffic and I can only eat ramen noodles for a week? Who cares, right?
Sure.
if other dependencies, who depend on you, then you have to be a little more careful. So those are several reasons why I kind of stepped away from that, and I started thinking about other ways to make money that would be more stable long term, and also more ownership for me, for myself to have control. And I guess around 2011 or so, I picked up a book. You may have heard. It's called The Millionaire Fast Lane by MJ DeMarco, and it's an amazing book. It's really incredible. It was just an eye opener for me. Kind of, I mean, I basically knew a lot of the stuff he was already talking about, but I just when you read that book, it really hits you in the head and said, this is, this is really, he's really got a lot of points here. It's basically what I needed to hear is that you need control, you need ownership, you need to have as little dependencies as possible, to get the control and to scale a business. And that really hit home for me. So after that, I started looking into, you mentioned the dietary supplements. I started looking at making my own product, and that's when my own real product came about. Was that I basically created a dietary supplement. Started talking to some guys who had done it before. I started learning about how these things are set up, how to do the labeling, how to do everything that goes with that, to have your own offer, basically. Because I mean, it was an advantage to having known the affiliate marketing world, and having I ran similar, or I should say, supplement offers as an affiliate. I kind of knew a little bit of the ins and outs of that, and so to step into the owner side was, I think, easier for me than someone who had done nothing before. And if I had come from just a day job and all of a sudden try to get into supplements, it would have been harder.
Yeah.
Then no, I had the advantage of knowing some of that before, and also running traffic, of course. So yeah.
So that's really cool. So when you got into that, I mean, there's a lot of different pieces of the puzzle that go into that. Like there's sourcing the product and, like you said, labeling it. And did you mentioned that you had contacts, I'm assuming, from like affiliate marketing that had done that before, and that kind of helped you get into it?
Yeah, both. Yeah, actually had, over the years as an affiliate, you get a lot of, I mean, you stay on forums, you get friends, and you network with people, and you meet a lot of cool guys in different industries. Like, a bunch of guys doing dating, I know a bunch, specialized in supplements, and guys who specialize in leads and all that stuff. And which was another really good thing about my years as an affiliate, I think, was to build this huge network of friends and connections that I have, that I could turn to. For whenever I need something, I can turn to these guys and say, hey, how do I do this? Or, you mind helping me? And of course I want to help them back. And I sometimes help people a lot. And if people come to me for questions, I try to help them as good as I can. But, the awesome thing about networking is that you can help each other. And you have this awesome resource out there that, instead of having to go on Google and searching and reading, you can actually reach out to your buddy and say, hey, how do I do this? So it was basically a lot of friends I knew, and people in the industry, network owners, supplement owners, other affiliates, who kind of filled in the pieces of the puzzles for me that I needed to get my own stuff started.
That's a great point. I mean, as affiliates, I think a lot of affiliates they're not always super social, so I think it's hard for a lot of them to like make friends or do networking, but that stuff, like you were talking about, it's so important. I mean, you can just, it can help your business immeasurably.
Oh, tremendously. Yes, very much so. And again, I can't stress enough, I should say it again, that helping other people is really, it'll help yourself in the long run if you help people, because it comes back to you. It's like almost like karma, what you give out will eventually come back to you. And I've always tried over the years on forums, any forum I've been on, I try to be, post helpful threads and posts, and I try to reach out to people, or if people reach out to me, I'll help them and answer questions whenever I have time. And it really pays off in the end, because, when it's my turn to need help, then those people have no problems helping me. Then, they remember me and say, yeah, you helped me out. here's a connection you need, or here's this and that and the other. So it's definitely something I'd recommend for everybody to build a huge network of business friends and acquaintances and whatnot.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Just one more question about the supplement thing. Were you handling everything yourself, like were you sourcing the product? I mean, did you actually stock it yourself, and did you have offers on networks, or did you sell it on like Amazon or other marketplaces?
Yeah, as far as sourcing, I got in touch with a supplement manufacturer through a friend of mine who he's owned his own supplement company for many years. So he referred me to his manufacturer and set me up with them. And through them, I was able to source the stuff I needed because I did all the research myself. I kind of had an idea for a product or a supplement product that I wanted to make, and researched the ingredients and of course asked them if they thought this would be a good combination of ingredients and all that, and they sourced it for me. And went from there to deciding to label myself, because I always like to work with graphics. I've been doing graphics on computers since about 1991, I think. Okay. My first Amiga computer.
Yeah.
Many years. So yeah, I always liked working with graphics. I designed my own label. I designed my own website. And I got on Amazon.com, started selling there, and also tried setting up some kind of a funnel on my own website for this supplement, so that because I wanted to have a recurring income from it, not just one-time sales.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to be one of those offers that are kind of shady and get people to get into these rebilling schemes that they get charged.
Yeah.
I didn't want to do that either. So it's all legit. And I just wanted to have something proper, something that actually works for people, and something that people want to come back for. So it's a quality product, and people will and people do actually come back for it and ask for it. How can I get on a subscription plan, and how can I get this again, and stuff like that. And so I think if you think quality, if you think value, I think the big keyword here is value. If you provide value to people, and that's something else that MJ DeMarco mentioned in his book many times too, is if you create value, it's your golden ticket. I mean, that's what people want, value for their money. You can definitely make money short term by not providing value, by trying to cheat people and try to have these shady offers and shady products. And in the short term, that will work for some time, but over the long term, that's not going to get you very far, because eventually people catch on and they move on to the next company or product. So I had the philosophy that I always want to provide value and long-term, build long-term income.
For sure.
Yeah. So I set up a recurring, rebuilding that's, getting people what they want.
Yeah, that's cool. Was it just you? Did you have any partners in the supplement business?
And not this first one that the one I made myself. I made a supplement. The one I've been talking about now is the one I made, and it's still out there. I'm actually about to get a new batch of it now to start selling it again, because I've been on hiatus with it for a few months. But yeah, I did actually get into another partnership for about 6 months, I guess it was, with a good friend of mine who I mentioned earlier, and we ran a lot of supplements through his company on Amazon.com. And we developed some methods there to kind of build it fast, build up good listings. We figured out how to basically, how to say this, our products were really visible on Amazon pretty quickly, and got a lot of sales in a fairly short time there.
Now, I know you can't. I know your methods, like you were saying earlier, kind of proprietary, so I'm not asking you to spill any secrets, but is there any general tips you can give, like if you're selling, whether it's supplements or anything else on Amazon, to kind of, I don't know, get it in front of people's eyes more?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, there's, and I've been actually teaching this too. We had on the another forum I'm part of, we have a coaching. I've been having coaching classes basically for students who want to learn how to optimize their Amazon listings and sell more on Amazon. Cool. And some of the things that we teach there is basically has a lot to do with your listing itself. I mean, your listing is everything. It's basically your landing page. Think of it as a landing page that people come to. They see, people go on Amazon, they browse, hundreds of products, and you'd be amazed at how many basically shitty, excuse my English, but shitty product listings are out there. There's
Hmm.
people don't put much thought into pictures, or their bullet points, they suck, or their titles are short, and the description is just like a block of text. And there's really so much you can do with that really, really, really improve your chances. So some of the tips I can give is like, you really need to optimize your title, just like you would for, normal SEO for a landing page or any website, basically,
Sure.
is that you fully use all the characters that they allow you to use in the title and in the bullet points. They allow you to use, I think, 500 characters per bullet point, and you have 5 bullet points, in your listing. So use them,
Hmm.
do some keyword research and put that in there. I mean, you don't want to make it look spammy and ugly. You want to make it look readable and nice too. But yeah, you get all the right keywords in the right places and have a really, really good image. That's another really important thing, is that put some thought into your image and test. You can always change it up. You don't have to stick with your initial image. You can test it up and see what seems to work. But now, sadly, Amazon doesn't provide much analytics and stuff, so you
Yeah.
can't see conversion rates in one versus the other. But I mean, you can kind of see on your sales, what effects these things have. I'd also suggest pushing your listing with Amazon internal pay-per-click ads. They have their own little pay-per-click platform in there that you can start off a brand new listing with, get some traffic to it. Even externally, you can send Facebook ads to it if you wanted to, and boost traffic with it that way. And the more sales you get, basically, the more you're going to climb in their rankings. So it basically works on both on keywords and on sales too. So sales is number one, and then also a good listing. You'll climb up, and before you know it, you'll have sales and repeat sales too.
Now, how do you deal with reviews on Amazon? I know just in the very little that I've done, but what I've seen, I mean, there's so many books. I know it's a big problem with books getting just tons of fake reviews. The book goes live and they'll have like 500 five-star reviews.
Right.
How do you deal with that? It doesn't seem like Amazon does a very good job policing it. I don't know.
They actually do, but the thing is that they do police the 4 and 5-star reviews.
Mm-hmm.
Periodically. They will. I mean, there's ways to get tons of fake reviews real fast, and you can do that.
Sure.
But they are really good at catching that within, I would say, 3 to 4 weeks. Those reviews will be gone again, because Amazon has routines that are run on a regular basis to clean out all these fake, 4 and 5 stars. The problem is when you have, like, let's say, you go into some competitive fields like dietary supplements or something that's really competitive on Amazon, and sooner or later you're going to have 1 or 2-star reviews. That's inevitable. I mean, almost all products have some negative reviews, and especially if you're in a competitive market, you'll have competitors who will actually go to your listings, just try to target you and put some 1 and 2-star reviews on you. The issue is that Amazon, they do not take away these negative reviews no matter what, even if you prove to them that this was from a competitor.
Wow.
You can actually send them links, say, hey, look at this fake account, they've been posting 1-star reviews on this and that and the other, and they'll say, well, sorry, we can't do anything about it. And you can have 15 1-stars, and all your good reviews can be
Yeah.
lacking. So yeah, that's one challenge that you really have to deal with. Balancing out your reviews, because reviews is everything. They're everything on Amazon. People filter their searches by reviews. You can say, I want to see only show me the products that have at least 4 stars or more, that sort of thing. And so you really have to stay up on the reviews and make sure you have a good 4 or 5-star average. And as far as ways to do that, you have family and friends, of course, the traditional way to do that. Give out promo copies or promo, units or whatever you have to send out. For books, it's easier because it's electronic, but physical products is a little harder. You have to, actually send something out or ask friends and family to just post a review. I mean, it doesn't have to be a verified review, of course, but it helps. Sure. And I could probably talk to another hour about this, but it's really fascinating. There's a lot of stuff you can do, though, that, like I said, I can't really disclose too much of what we learned through our process, because we learned a lot of stuff that can somewhat bypass some of this. And yeah, so
Yeah.
I'll leave
No,
it at
that's good. That's good.
that.
Now let's talk about what led you from there to your current venture. So you're doing the supplements and
Yeah.
everything, and that's going well. And then how did you get into your newest invention or endeavor?
Yeah. Okay. So from there, I started. Well, I had this idea for a while. Actually, before I started the supplement, I've had this because actually, since I was a little kid, I've kind of been. My dream was to be an inventor someday.
Okay.
I used to play with like Legos, all day long, and I used to build all these crazy, machines and inventions from Legos. And I thought, when I grow up, I'm gonna become an inventor.
Yeah.
But it wasn't until like the last few years now that I thought, well, I had these ideas written down. And sometimes I'll think of stuff and I say, well, it's got to be a better way to do this or that or something. And so yeah, so like everyone else, I watch a lot of YouTube videos sometimes and watch funny videos, and you watch shows like American Funniest Videos or Ridiculousness on MTV, and you see all these super shaky videos. People are holding their cell phones in their hand and they're laughing or something when they're filming, and you cannot even see what's going on because it's so shaky and
Yeah.
and so I thought, well, there's got to be a better way to, stabilize video because in this modern day and age, we have all these amazing cell phones, the iPhones and the, Samsung Galaxies. They're just super, high definition cameras with all these fancy, image processing and stuff built in, but we still haven't figured out how to stabilize people's shaking hands,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, and yeah, they do have some kind of image stabilization built in these days, to some degree, but that's only going to get you so far. I mean, if you're moving about or running and stuff, it's still going to get really shaky. So I really wanted to create a solution to it, and I first started looking for something that I could buy myself so I can test it on my own phone. But I actually really couldn't find anything. There are other there's some stabilizers out there that are made for cameras, and of course in Hollywood they have the Steadicams for the Hollywood films. They use maybe $5,000 or $10,000 rigs they use, and of course there are some lower or cheaper consumer solutions for like the DSLR cameras and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But they're still running, like $150 to $300, and they're kind of clunky and big. And so I wanted to make something that was for cell phones that people could, anyone can just carry with them, and it was easy to use. So you don't have to, understand counterbalancing and nuts and bolts and all this stuff. So that's how I came up with, making something that would solve all those problems, and maybe I can make it into products. So that's how the StayblCam was born. I created basically a stabilizer for smartphones and GoPro cameras, and it's called the StayblCam.
Yeah.
StayblCam.
So how did you? I mean, how did you go from idea to actually? Well, first describe actually what it is, like physically. What is
Okay,
it?
so it's basically it's a little hard to describe without pictures and
Yeah.
visuals, but yeah, it's basically you hold it in your hand. It looks almost like an umbrella, a collapsed umbrella, but you can actually pull it out like a telescope, because it has an actual telescope inside of it. So you pull it out and you hold it in the middle with your one hand. It has a gyroscopic kind of gimbal type of handle that ensures that it doesn't shake as much, and it can't move as much when you're holding it in the handle, because this is a 3-axis design that allows for your hand to move without the axis to move, and the axis basically holds your camera. So you put your iPhone or your cell phone on top of it and record video, and the long telescopic axis basically remains firmly still while your hand can move, and thereby you eliminate a lot of the shaking and jittering. And you can also actually use it upside down, so you can film really low to the ground. Like you can literally film video like an inch off the ground and still really stable. You can follow your cat or dog around the house and see what they see. Basically, it's pretty cool.
So how did you go from idea to physically building the product? That's something I'm interested in knowing.
Yeah. That was an interesting process too. I mean, of course, this thing didn't exist, and so I had to come up with how to solve the problem.
Yeah.
And from my days with my Lego bricks and days of thinking of stuff and solutions, I started, writing down on paper some ideas and concepts, and started playing around with some bits and pieces of wood I had in my garage. I took some scrap wood and scrap plastic and put some things together and kind of tested it, and how would this work and how would that work, and what if I do this, what if I change that, and basically just started playing with stuff. Started cutting wood and cutting plastic and gluing and taping and testing. It's a lot of testing going on. But I built a prototype, a little rough one, but it worked. And figured, well, hey, what if I make it better? If I can improve instead of these wooden parts and stuff, because that's not going to sell in the store, obviously. But
Yeah.
and it needs to look good too. It's I can't just have this crappy looking thing. So so I sat down and actually made some proper drawings, because I had actually in high school I took 2 years of technical drawing and engineering. And so I knew how to draw, technical drawings for engineers that would make something out of a drawing.
Okay.
And so I make these drawings and I sent them to some companies in China, and asked them basically, can you make this? Is there a way you can make these parts for me? Right. And they did. So yeah, they made parts in a limited quantity, so I can test and see what this would look like and feel like, and if it would work right. And sure enough, it did. And so the process was basically make a prototype, get proper drawings, and see, talk to engineers, talk to manufacturers, and see if they can make it. Figure out the right materials and figure out the right weights and measurements, and that was.
Yeah. So just backing up for a second, when you were making the prototype, I mean, you mentioned knowing how to do some technical drawings, but did you have any kind of engineering background, or did you just purely come up with, was it like, I think this would be a good way to stabilize the camera?
Yeah, pretty much. Really? Pretty much. It was a lot of intuition, basically. Like,
wow.
Yeah, you kind of, I just hard to explain, but like in my head, I kind of had some ideas, and then figured, well, if the camera is up here and if my hand is here, what needs to be in the middle of that, and basically I knew all the problems that I need to solve and keep them in mind the whole time. And so like along the process, I couldn't go, I forced myself to always think about every problem I wanted to solve. I wanted to solve the problems of, the competition is really clunky and big, so I didn't want that. Mm-hmm. The competition is, hard to use. I didn't want that. The competition is expensive. I didn't want that. So I needed to keep these things in mind. Like, you needed to be easy. You needed to look good. You needed to be affordable. And all along the way, when I was engineering and making prototypes and parts, all these things were constantly in my head. Like for example, instead of making one part, I have to think, well, is this part going to be expensive to make? If I change it, is it gonna affect cost in any way? Mm-hmm. If I make this part this way, is that going to affect how it handles or how it looks?
Yeah.
It's an ongoing thing, thinking about all these aspects along the way. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. If you hadn't taken the technical drawing classes, and if you didn't know how to do that, what would you have done?
Well, yeah, people ask me that too, and I still would have gone ahead. I probably would have just made some rough drafts on paper and found some people who could help me make some proper drawings. And I've actually had people come to me and say, hey, I have no background in technical drawing. I have no idea. I can't draw a straight line. I have no.
Yeah.
And so I always tell them, well, it's not a problem. It's for me, it happened to be easy because I knew that, but that shouldn't be a hindrance for you to you can just find someone. Even on Fiverr.com, you can go on Fiverr and find guys who can make your drawings for $5 or $10.
Yeah.
All you do is take a pen and paper, draw something on a napkin or paper, and you take a picture of it. You send it to the guy and explain, hey, this is roughly what I want, and can you make this for me? Can you draw this in the proper how it needs to look for an engineer? So definitely that's not shouldn't stop you from going.
That's a really good point. Okay, sorry if these questions are kind of basic, but you went from drawings, then before you went to China, you said you found engineers, or was that?
Well, I should say engineers at the manufacturers in China, because they have their own engineers, and you can basically when you get quotes from them, and they say, hey, we'll talk to our engineer about it. He's going to get back to you, blah blah blah, and that's what they did. They have their own in-house engineers that will. And they might come back and say, hey, well, if you make it this way, that's going to make it hard, or it's going to make it costly. So how about this instead? And so you learn things along the way that from their input too, that can steer you in the right direction for manufacturing. And I'm still actually going through that now, because right now we're in the middle of actually proper manufacturing the product. And so every day almost I'm back and forth with the engineer here in the United States, where we're going to manufacture it. And we go over all these details every day, like, how is this going to fit in the mold, or we need to tweak this part a little bit because it doesn't quite fit right, or, this material might be a little too hard or too soft or something like that. So yeah, definitely stay in close touch with the engineers, because they really know what you can and cannot do.
And how do you find these places in China? I know that there's a lot of places over there, and that's where a lot of people go to manufacturing. But how do you, first of all, find these places, and then how do you know if it's, I guess, a reputable place to use?
Yeah, I get that question a lot too. Actually, it wasn't that hard. I mean, you would think it would be hard to go find manufacturing, because I mean, it's easy enough to find. I mean, anyone can go on Alibaba.com
Right.
and search for cell phone covers, or backpacks, or whatever you want to have sent. But what I did, actually, I still went to Alibaba.com, but they have something called, I forget what it's called exactly, but basically you can request for a quote. So instead of searching for existing products, you can say, hey, can anyone make me, X, Y, Z? Here's what I need. Here's some rough drawings. It's going to be made out of this material, and I need this made. And then basically that's what I did. And within like 24 hours, I had, I think, like 12 or 15 companies.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they were like, well, yeah, we can make this, we can do that. And yeah, so it's, I got all their contact information, emails, and Skype. I had, a lot of Skype talks with them, and it doesn't take that long before you figure out who's serious and who's not so serious. And you can also, you can kind of tell sometimes by their website, or if they've been in business for a long time.
Sure.
Kind of how they talk to you. If they're really, really pushy, that turns me off. I just rather have someone who's more serious and not so pushy. And you take it from there, talk to them, and figure out what they can actually do. And but one thing I have to say is that beware that a lot of them, actually, I would almost say most of them, because they know that a lot of people come from here in the States, especially, or Western countries.
Yeah.
And they know that they typically have money to spend, and they will they will quote you really, really high at first.
Yeah.
And so I definitely recommend for anyone who's listening to, if you're going to get quotes from China, you can definitely negotiate those prices they give you, and don't be afraid to say, hey, well, you gave me the quote for so and so much. Well, I talked to this other manufacturer who gave me less than half of that. So what can you do about that? Can you offer me something better? And of course, it comes a point where you can't push them any further. But I'm not saying you should push them 90% off or anything. But there's really room for negotiations with most of these guys, and because they want to make money, but they will try first to go a little high on you with the numbers. So yeah, sure. Something to keep in mind.
Now, I know this probably really varies by the type of product, so I don't know if this is even answerable, but what kind of budget do you need to take an idea to China and get either a prototype made or a small batch manufactured? I mean, what are you looking at? Just like a few thousand, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands?
I would actually say, for me, I think generally it doesn't have to cost that much. Mm-hmm. Of course, again, it depends on the product, yes, but I mean, unless you're going to make something like electronic or something that's really advanced, that can get costly, of course. Sure. But as long as you're sticking to anything that's made out of plastic, metal, it doesn't have 200 parts inside of it.
Yeah.
I think you can really get far of it less than $1,000. I mean, 500 to $1,000, maybe even less sometimes. I mean, in my case, I made the prototype myself, like I said, from scrap pieces in my garage. Yeah. The drawings didn't cost me anything because I did it myself. If you do have someone do it for you, I mean, 5, 10, maybe $20 for proper drawings on Fiverr.com, and what I did too was that, because when I talk to these manufacturers in China, I said, can you make this for me? And they'll say, well, yeah, we can, but you're gonna have to order 1,000 units. Mm-hmm. I said, well, I'm not quite ready for that yet, and I only need so many because I'm running a test, to test the market basically, which it wasn't a lie. I was actually doing that too. I needed small quantities so I can test if people wanted this thing in the first place. So So I told him, hey, I'm willing to order more later, but right now I just need to have, 15, 20, 25 units so I can, do a small test. And they'll work with you and do that. Some won't, and some will say, well, sorry, but that's not going to happen. Well, then you move on to the next guy who says, yeah, that's fine. So yeah, you can, work on small quantities. You can do it on a shoestring budget for the most part. Yeah, it doesn't have to cost that much. I mean, you get it shipped over to your home, and before you know it, you can have a product that's you've thought of and made. So
Yeah, that's good.
it doesn't have to be costly.
Sorry, did you say that you knew what materials you wanted it to be made out of, or did the engineers help you with that?
I kind of knew that. I knew that. I picked the materials myself.
Okay.
It's only now recently that one of the materials have been changed up because of some recommendations I was given by the engineer here. Recently, he said, well, your original model had this, but I think we really should do this instead because it would definitely work better and be more cost efficient. So I listened to them and, of course, agreed that that would be good to do. But yeah, generally, I did have the materials picked out and kind of knew what would work.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you have to patent this idea before you went to anybody
Yes.
with it? Yeah.
Yes, I definitely recommend that. And the thing is, you do not have to have a full patent to do that because a full patent is going to cost you easily $5,000,
Yeah.
$6,000, $7,000.
Yeah.
But the good thing is, and the good news is that you can do what's called a provisional patent. So you file for a provisional patent, which basically guarantees you the first rights to this idea for 12 months. And so you have the first, because right now it used to be here in the United States, you could be the first to what's it called? First to invent, I think, or first to, I forget the term. They changed this now to first to file. So that means you have to be the first person to file for the idea. And when you have done that, you have the rights to that idea until you apply for a proper patent. This provisional patent only costs, I think it was $125 is what it costs to apply for one. You can do it yourself, or you can have a patent attorney do it for you, which will cost you a little more because, of course, the attorney is going to take his share. So I think if you go to a site like LegalZoom.com, it's like $500-$600, I think, for the whole thing. I did it myself. It wasn't really that hard. I mean, I just Googled a bunch of examples on provisional patents. I read up some things about what you should and shouldn't do in an application. And I already had done the drawings myself, and I wrote it up myself and filed it and sent it in. So, but yeah, back to what you asked me. Definitely, you should do this before you start disclosing any designs or anything. I didn't post any pictures of my idea anywhere on the internet or anywhere to anyone until I had that provisional patent filed, because I knew. Because if you do that, if you start posting pictures, hey, look at this thing I made, and this and this and the other, and then someone can actually legally then take that idea and file before you, and then even if it was your idea first, well, hey, the guy who filed, the guy who was the first to file is the one who owns it. So that's really scary. So file first, and then you can start talking about it and showing people.
You said that initial patent lasts for a year. Is that right?
Yes, just you have 12 months, and after that you have to either reapply again, or you have to start the whole proper patent work. So that's And there's, by the way, I can mention too, there's two types of patents. There's utility patents and there's design patents. So utility patents are for anything that describes basically how your product works, how it functions, what it does. Whereas design patents are more for something that describes what it looks like. If it's a specific type of clothing maybe, or a specific type of design of a wristwatch or something like that, what describes what it looks like. If you want to patent that, you have to do a design patent.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's different than the utility patent.
Do you ever need both, or just one or the other?
Yes, yeah. I'm not an attorney, so you shouldn't take my advice here, but I definitely recommend talking to someone an attorney or lawyer that's working with patents. Ask them, because it really depends on the product. It can be, sometimes you'll need both. Sometimes you actually need several patents for the same product to cover different areas and different pieces of it that might need its own patent or something like that. So definitely talk to someone, and don't just take my word for this. But yeah. the very least you should do is to file for a provisional patent. That's number one, and then you
Yeah.
go from there.
Okay, that makes sense. So if that initial patent lasts a year, do you have to, and the full patent, it can take a while to do. So do you
Yeah.
just keep extending that yearly patent until you get the full patent,
No,
or?
no. So once you've started the process with a full patent, then you're kind of good to go then, because then the process is started then with the
Ah, okay.
anyway. So you don't have to worry about it. As soon as you start that paperwork and everything, you're kind of in the pipeline, and it's just a matter of waiting and stuff. So you're already then secured for having it. But just don't let that first 12 months go by and then forget about it, because then someone technically could just snap it up. And
Hmm.
let's say you invent something, and you invented something, and you filed for the provisional patent, and you let your 12 months go by, and then 2 months later I see your idea on Facebook or whatever,
Yeah.
and I know, oh, I heard from a guy or someone like, oh, he had his provisional, but it expired. And I'm like, oh, really? I'm going to apply for that.
Ah.
So I go behind your back and I file it, and all of a sudden I'm now the owner and inventor of your idea.
Wow.
That's
Just knowing what I know about people, I'm assuming that happens a lot.
yeah, I've heard it actually. I've heard some
Yeah.
horror stories that's happening. And it's yeah, you got to be careful, because I've heard some really bad examples. People actually got patents for something that someone else invented, and they the original guy couldn't fight it, because what could he say? Hey, now granted, I said, and this is recent too. I think it was 2 years ago they changed this, where I said the United States changed it to first to file, which
Mhm.
is how the rest of the world works too. They have a first to file system, which I don't really like, and a lot of people don't like this, but it is the way it is now. It used to be the way here in the United States, where if you could prove that you were the first guy to invent it or had the idea originally, let's say you could prove that you had drawings, you had pictures taken of your product years ago, maybe you even started selling it. If you could prove that, then you would actually get the first rights to it. But not anymore. So now it's just first to file, meaning whoever files first has the rights to it first. So
Yeah, that's crazy.
yeah, it is. It's pretty crazy.
Have you ever looked into licensing your ideas?
Yes, I have, and still something I might consider at some point. It's definitely a good model, I think, too, for a lot of products, and mine could be as well. I mean, you have, for those who aren't familiar with licensing, basically, if I want to license my product, I would go to a big company and say, hey, here's my product. I have a patent or a provisional patent on it. People want to buy this thing. I have pre-orders. Would you guys be interested in selling this for me? And basically, what they would do, let's say I go to the big company like Apple or something. Just an example. Let's say I go to Apple and they say, yeah, cool, we'll sell your product for you. And they will take care of all the manufacturing, all the marketing, all the logistics, shipping, distribution, everything. They will do everything for you. And all you do is basically collect a check in the mail for royalties. So you get a percentage of sales, and that's it, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's really, really cool for a lot of products, a lot of people to do that, because they didn't have to worry about anything anymore like that. So, I mean, I think it has its pros and cons, though. I mean, you could probably or potentially make more doing it yourself,
Mhm.
but you could also potentially make more doing licensing. Again, it depends on the product and the market, and what the need is for this product out there. You know, um,
True.
if you're going to do it yourself without licensing, of course you do have to take care of the marketing. You do have to take care of the manufacturing and everything else. But of course, you have more of the profits too. So you have to kind of weigh in, each side of that coin to see what's best for you.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I read a good book on that not too long ago called One Simple Idea by Stephen Key.
Yes.
Um,
Very
yeah,
good book.
that was good, kind of a whole introduction and more into that. So if any of you out there are interested in licensing, that might be a good place to start.
Yes, I can definitely recommend that book as well. It's a really good book. One Simple Idea. Nice.
Cool.
Stephen Key. Yeah, very good book.
All right, so you invented this, and I know you were on Kickstarter. I wanted to talk a little bit about that. Is that kind of how you decided to get the word out about it and get more funding, or how did that come about?
Yeah, basically, I mean, Kickstarter is awesome. I mean, it's not, people just see it as this thing that they can, make some money or get some funding on, and
Yeah.
it's a good funding platform, yes, but it's also an amazing market validation tool, because once you have something on Kickstarter, it will basically tell you, the market will tell you if your product sucks or if it doesn't suck,
Yeah. Yeah. Good point.
because people vote with their pledges to say, hey, this is awesome. I'd pay money for this. I'll give you $1 or $5 or $10 or $100. They actually vote for the dollars and, telling you if your product is viable for mass market production. So that's part of the reason why I went there, just to, yeah, to get funding also, but also to see what people thought of this thing, and also to get feedback, because people will tell you, what they think of it. They'll say, well, yeah, this is awesome, but how about, what about this and this? Is it going to work with my phone? Is it going to work this way? Are you going to have accessories to it? All these things stuff that I hadn't even thought about, that people came to me and told me, hey, what if you offer it in this color, or what if you change this and this?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it's really valuable for input from the market, and also, yeah, to see if it would actually sell. So in my case, it was a big success. We asked for $35,000 in funding, and we got actually $123,000 in funding.
Wow.
In 30 days. Yeah, so it was awesome. We had over 1,200 pre-orders from all over the world, coming from, I think, any country you can mention. I think people came in from far away. So it was really, really good. A lot of input, got a lot of questions, and people actually ordered sometimes more than one unit, and for their friends and family. So yeah, definitely a good platform to try it if you have a physical product.
That's cool. Yeah, congrats on that. That's a huge
Thanks.
success.
Yeah.
So I've never done anything on Kickstarter. Did you just put the product up there and then just kind of sit back, or I mean, do you have to actually do anything to sort of promote it on Kickstarter?
Yeah, I mean, you could put it up there and sit and wait. That's the wrong way to do it.
Okay. I would
Yeah,
imagine, but yeah.
that's the wrong way to do it. I mean, you can do that, and maybe you'll get a few, pledges and stuff. But what you really, really should do is prepare ahead of time. I can't stress enough how preparation is just everything on Kickstarter. I really recommend starting 1 or 2 months ahead if possible, at least a month, maybe more, and prepare, because the thing is, you have to make sure people know about your product before it goes on Kickstarter. That means, start getting on social media, start posting pictures of it, start building an email list. You can either buy some traffic and send to a list, or a landing page that has a video of your product and pictures of it and talks about the benefits, and then maybe set up a Facebook ad, or set up some social media campaign with Twitter or Pinterest or Instagram. Start driving traffic to a website or landing page where you talk about your product. And again, this is before your Kickstarter, and you start collecting emails from people and build an email list. And this is what I did too, and started getting signups to this list of people who were actually genuinely interested in this thing. And while I was doing that, also started rigorously contacting various, bloggers and tech sites and YouTubers and stuff, and started trying to get them to talk about it too, and write articles about it, or get some mentions here and there.
Yeah.
I built a list of basically a huge list of tech bloggers, forums, YouTubers, any kind of influencer that was out there in the tech field, because my product is related to technology, cameras and iPods and GoPros. So I started making a list of all these people who would have be interested in writing about it, or sites that would talk about these sort of things. And basically we started writing them and contacting them, and I got one review, I got a second review, I got a second article, third article, another review here and there, and it kind of snowballed. And actually, over time, your list grows bigger too, because more and more people start seeing and hearing about it, and your list grows bigger. Now, eventually, the thing with your list is, once you get ready for your Kickstarter, of course, you have to make sure your Kickstarter page in itself looks good, and you have to have a good video.
Yeah.
But once your page is up and your project is ready, when a day comes, you can just take your email list and send out an email and say, hey, Tomorrow, or 2 days from now, we're about to launch. You're going to have a Kickstarter campaign. And I should also say that before this, like maybe a couple of weeks ahead of time, start building up some anticipation, build some momentum for this campaign, and prepare people and tell them that there's going to be a Kickstarter campaign here. You can pre-order this item, and you guys who are on my list, you'll get a discount, or the first so many people who order will get a discount. And so you build up anticipation, you build up some momentum. So when the day comes, you just shoot out your list and launch it, basically. Because when you've done all this preparation work, it really, really pays off. Because now all these people are starting to tell their friends and share it, and they already know about it, and they're excited about it. And that is so much better than just trying to put a page up and cross your fingers,
Yeah,
It really makes a world of a difference to prepare. Yeah, it's everything.
when you're building your list initially like that, do you say join the pre-order list, or do you just say join the list to get more info as as we build
Both
this?
actually, yeah, yeah,
Okay.
both. I mean, it's kind of what I did saying, for more information to be one of the first who, to hear about the news, to hear about updates, or be one of the first who can pre-order it,
Mhm.
sign up today, or sign up to our newsletter. You'll be one of the first people to hear about once we launch, and once we make our pre-order on Kickstarter available. And so, yeah, get them excited about it, and be honest, be upfront, and tell them everything. Show them the product, show them what it does, and of course, be ready to answer questions ahead of time too. So that when the day comes for your Kickstarter, you're ready to answer more questions that people may have had initially. Because I even got a bunch of questions before my Kickstarter too from people, and not just questions, but just feedback. People would suggest things to me and stuff like that. So that really prepared me for to setting up the Kickstarter page and making the video look as good as possible, and make sure the video answered a lot of these questions ahead of time, so that so let's say if I just had a shitty video,
Mhm.
I would just be bombarded with questions, if I didn't have that prepared. So really try to answer as much as you can in your description, in your project page, in your video, in your FAQ, if you have that,
Mhm.
and just be prepared. That's all it's about, preparation.
Did you make and write and script the video yourself, or did you hire someone to
No, I did it all
do it
myself,
by
actually.
yourself? Wow. So you did pretty much all this yourself, right? Is what I'm
Yeah,
hearing. I mean, that's really impressive. That's awesome. You also got a lot of press coverage, and
yeah.
I know you said you contacted these places. How did you do that? Did you contact them by sending them a product, or did you just say, "Hey, would you be interested in checking one of these out"? How do you go
Yes.
about that?
Yeah, so this goes back to when I was talking to manufacturers in China, because I wanted to make so many units up front. And the reason I did that initially, because I knew that at some point I would have to, or want to, send out some of these things so people can test them. And so I told these manufacturers, say, hey, can I have 20, 25 units of this part and whatever, and just a limited run. And that was for the sole purpose of sending out these units to these bloggers and these guys that were influencers. And so, yeah, I did actually ship out a few units to some of these people and some of these sites,
Mhm.
and they would actually test them and show them off, and that too would kind of validate people's, because one thing is having like a rendering or like an image or a photo. That's one thing, and that's cool. But once people actually see a video, see the physical item, someone holding it in their hand, and not just me holding it in my hand, but actually
Yeah.
some other guy that I'm not, some third party guy who has nothing to gain. He shows it off too and talks about it, and they know, oh yeah, it's actually a real product. It's actually pretty cool. It's not just the creator bragging about it, but it's other people talking about it too. So I really recommend doing that. If you have a physical product or thinking about doing that, I really recommend having some samples made and send them out. Of course, be careful who you send it to, because you don't want to send it just to anyone. But
Yeah.
try to be a little picky about who you send them to. Of course, you want as much influence or as much reach as possible from these influential people. But yeah, do
It,
that for sure.
and to figure out how to do that, do you just I don't know. I'm looking on your page now. Like, say any of these sites, do you just basically get their address off the website and ship them a package with a little letter? Is that?
Not no. I basically have a bunch of. I'm a spreadsheet geek, so I have a lot of spreadsheets and everything.
Uh-huh.
So I had a separate spreadsheet or several separate spreadsheets for these different types of sites, and I would actually outsource some of this work. I didn't do all of it myself. I outsourced some of the work with collecting, address information. So I would gather, emails, phone numbers, street addresses, shipping addresses, and of course names too to these people. So I would send out, requests and say, hey, so and so, Jim Bob or so and so, whoever your name is. I see, you're writing good articles on, iPod, the latest iPhone or the iPad or the latest GoPro version, and I thought you might be interested in this. Check this out. Here's a video. Maybe you'd be interested in writing an article about it, or mentioning it on your site. And if you're interested, I'll be happy to send you a unit. Could you mind giving me your shipping address, or is this the right address I have to send it to?
Mm.
And just basically gather up a lot of contact information and start contacting people and see if they would want to have a unit to test.
Yeah, yeah, that's cool. What percentage of people that you shipped a product to actually did a review on it, or some kind of percentage?
Most of them did. There was a
Okay.
few. I lost a few. I used the word lost because I basically lost. I mean, I sent them out and I never heard anything
Yeah,
back.
sure.
But that was kind of to be expected. I expected some of them to be, they're just, some of them probably get so many things sent to them anyway, so they're kind of my product kind of drowned in the pile there. But that's okay. I mean, I've expected some loss, and that's just part of business. But yeah, most of them actually took the time to either write about it or actually some, posted a video about it. And I'm actually still waiting for a couple of reviews to that. I think it's going to be posted later on. But yeah, the most recent one was a site called 9to5mac.com,
Hmm.
one of the bigger iPhone and iPad sites out there. So yeah, they were kind enough to do a nice review on it there. It was one of the guys I sent it to.
Very
So,
cool.
yeah, yeah.
Did you get anybody along the way that was like, that's a stupid idea, this is never going to work, or anything?
Uh, I didn't really get that. Other than, if, of course, I mean, you do get the occasional comments like, well, this, I've seen this before. Doesn't this exist already? Well,
Mm.
I don't need this because I can just use my this and that. And, why would I buy this? Because I can just hold my phone in the hand just fine. I don't need to stabilize it, whatever. Well, you're always going to get that kind of criticism, and people are going to be skeptics, and that's fine. That's just any business, any product out there gets that kind of skepticism or criticism, and to me, I don't take it personal. It's just whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
It's okay. Well, then those people aren't my customers anyways. I can they can
Exactly.
do something else if they want to. So yeah, I didn't get too much of that though.
Yeah. Um, I don't want to take up your whole day, so
Oh no, you're
I could talk about this for a long time. But the other thing I wanted to ask is what skills you learned in your affiliate marketing days or as an affiliate that helped you transition into this and be successful with it.
Yeah, that's a good question too. Yeah, so what I think what really was good for me to have the background of doing online marketing and affiliate marketing is that I learned, you learn how to sell. You learn how to take almost anything, any product, any service. Like back in my affiliate days, it was dating offers, ringtone offers, insurance offers. You learn how to sell these things to different demographics. And so when you go from, I shouldn't just say I, but anyone going from, or if you're an affiliate and you're thinking about making your own product, you when you spend, at least when you're paying money for traffic, like you have to spend your hard-earned dollars on pay-per-click, you're forced to kind of get the most out of that traffic. Every dollar counts, right? So you learn a lot about setting up the right ad creatives, ad copy, landing page copy. You're writing titles, you're testing different images, you're testing landing pages. All these things come together, and you learn a lot about how to sell anything. I mean, it can be your own product, it can be someone else's product, it can be a service, anything like that. So it really taught me a lot about targeting, about traffic, about landing page design and ads, and all these things come together, I think, to give you a really good, a solid foundation. And that's one of the really good things I think about affiliate marketing is that it teaches you a lot of skills like that. You know,
Mm-hmm.
it really teaches a lot of skills, and both in terms of traffic and traffic sources, and as far as selling and marketing too. It's a really good kind of a step stool to bigger things.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I mean, I see a lot of people, a lot of affiliates, and they get really frustrated and discouraged because they're spending all this money and they're not making $1 million a day, but they're forgetting about, just like you said, all those skills that they're building that
Yes.
are going to help them in whatever they want to go into eventually, whether it's online or offline. I mean, just learning about marketing is
Yeah.
a huge advantage. Yeah.
It really is huge because I've seen too many times that I kind of lost count of how many times you meet other business people or business owners who they don't have that background, and
Yeah.
they'll be
Yeah.
they'll be frustrated, and they was like, well, I don't know anything about marketing, I don't know how to sell, and they try to hire people on Odesk or Fiverr and or Elance, and I try to hire so many marketers and people, I don't know what I'm doing wrong. But if you have that foundation yourself, if you understand some of it, that really gives you a good foundation for that, because you know at least some of these things, and you spent money on it yourself. You've made yourself learn it, and it's a really good thing to have. Like you said, yeah, like some of these frustrated affiliates, they may think they're just losing all their money, blowing it all away. Well, yeah, you may have lost some money, but at least you've gained knowledge. You've
Mm-hmm.
gained experience and knowledge that will you can actually use for forever when you're going to do your own thing. So yeah, it's really valuable. And,
Yeah.
and I'll add to that, not only that, but for me, both with my supplement and also what I'll be doing with the StayblCam is set up an affiliate program. And having been an affiliate myself, I really know, what affiliates want, so I can cater to them. And when affiliates sign up with me, and I can say, hey, yeah, I was an affiliate myself one day. I know exactly what you're after. And, how can I help you, and how can you help me? Let's make this work. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, you kind of see, both sides of the pond.
Yeah, I think one of the really cool things about your story is just how, I mean, you basically did the whole thing yourself. And
Yeah.
I think, I mean, you're a really sharp guy, but I'm sure your affiliate marketing background really helped that too. And like, I've done consulting with individuals or companies or whatever, and it's crazy that how much stuff they hire. I mean, they think they have to
Oh
hire a
yeah.
social media manager for 100,000 a year and this
Yeah.
and that. And I'm like, why are you paying this person, $5,000 a month to
No,
make a few posts on your Facebook page? It's just insane. Yeah.
I know. Yeah. It's really, I mean, it can get really expensive to hire, like you said, all these consultants and all these people to do all these things. But when you have that knowledge, that's free knowledge that,
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't free, I guess, when you pay for it initially,
Sure.
but it's free for the rest of your life as soon as you know it. And technologies might change. I mean, ad platforms might change, they might change the rules, things change in the world of the internet. It's every day there's a new thing, but at the bottom of it, there's still, when you have the knowledge of selling, the principles of selling are always the same. They're timeless. You can look at like books on marketing that were written in 1910, and it's the same principles as we
Yeah.
use today. It's this timeless information and knowledge that you can always use. So regardless of what technologies come and go. So
That's true.
yeah.
Yeah, great point. Well, I'll just close by asking, what does the future hold for you? Do you want to um, invent more products and stuff? I mean, I imagine this is going to keep you busy for quite a while, but what would you like to do when you grow up?
Okay, so when I grow up, no, yeah, no, it's a good question. I think right now I really want to grow this the company, the product. It's my number one thing right now. It's my baby.
Mm-hmm.
I want to really blow that up. I want to start selling it internationally and in the United States, of course, everywhere. I want to make it available for anyone to buy, and I want to expand it as well with more accessories, more similar products that are going to go under the same brand, and be growing that. I don't know about myself 5, 10, 15 years from now. Maybe I'll be onto another invention or another company. Who knows what
Sure.
brings? But yeah, for now, that's definitely my number one focus to grow this as big as I possibly can grow it.
Yeah, that's the cool thing about being an entrepreneur. You never really get bored of doing the same thing because there's so many opportunities.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I still have a list of things I would love to do.
Yeah.
Like I write down ideas and I stuff. Oh, what about this and that? But you really have to focus on one thing at a time. It's tempting though to jump on 2 or 3 things at the same time, but
Oh, sure.
it really is not a good idea. I mean, you have to stay focused. You have to stay on one track, even if there's something over there that looks shiny, or you talk to your friend who's making 3 times as much as you or doing something cool. You really can't let yourself stray and, oh, well, maybe I should try that instead. And you should never do that. Just as long as you have faith in your product and people want it, at least stick it out and try to make it happen. Stay focused day to day, and you'll get somewhere. I mean, it'll pay off. You know,
Mm-hmm.
it's definitely the best advice I can give. You stay focused and don't follow everything that's shiny and the shiny object syndrome.
Yeah, I agree. That's, yeah, definitely great advice that everybody needs to take to heart.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I want to thank you for doing this podcast. I learned a lot, and it was really great.